one of the reasons I hope he gets all the credit as he deserves this year is to get a coaching gig. You know, he had about 4 or 5 teams real interested last year. And so obviously now when Bruce Arians speaks, we listen because Tom Brady is on the Bucs. And so the question is, maybe is he getting too much credit? That would be Tom Brady for what this offense has been able to accomplish the last few years, Nink.
You know, I don't think he gets too much credit. Listen, the quarterbacks always get all the credit. And there's a reason why we talk about the race car drivers and not the guy that's building the motor. So you can draw up the perfect plan and you can have the best play ever created, and it's up to the players to go out there and execute it. And we're in a league where everyone's focused on the quarterback. So look at what these quarterbacks are making. You talk about the quarterback. You don't talk about everything else. So, again, Leftwich is going to be a head coach. Maybe next year, maybe in 2 years, I think he will be a head coach. He will be a head coach. Mark my words, but I don't think he gets too much credit, no.
Okay, fair enough. But let's stay here with the Buccaneers, because in order for them to get credit this year in terms of their offense, they might need to add another piece, and that would be Rob Gronkowski, who I know, Nate, you hung out with recently, and Gronk, from what we know, is still undecided. Do you have something to add to that? Do you think he's part of this Bucs team next year?
Well, I was with Rob a couple weeks ago, so I was at his house, we're talking, and I just said, hey, are you going to play next year? He's like, I don't know, maybe. And I don't think he knows. I think at this point right now, he's just trying to process where he's at, how his body feels, and he's played a long time. Okay. So if you've played a long time and you've made the money that Rob has made, he's the best tight end, the greatest tight end of all times. For him to come back and to put himself in a position of getting beat up and potentially being injured, you have to have the reward there. So he's going to have to get paid appropriately compared to where he's at and what the tight end market is. And I still think he's one of the best tight ends right now. He's a big body guy. He's got huge hands. He can go up in the red zone. He can catch any pass. So, you know, I think Rob is at a point now where it's got to be worth it for him, and the money's going to have to be something that just knocks him off his feet. And sure, okay, yeah, I'll play one more year. But at this point, he's made a lot and he's done a lot. He's got 4 Super Bowl rings. So I really don't know if he's going to play, but I really don't think he knows if he's going to play.
So do we believe Nink? He was at his house hanging out with him, and he says the same thing that TMZ Sports said. I don't know, Nink, if I'm believing you that you don't know. But nonetheless, he also threw out there that Rob Gronkowski is the best tight end. Do you agree with that? Because I saw you shaking your head.
Well, he's one of the best. I mean, there's so many great tight ends in the history of the National Football League. It's hard to just zero in or pinpoint one guy as being the greatest of all time. I don't think it's that cut and dry. So, yeah, is Rob Gronkowski in the conversation? Absolutely. But there are other tight ends that certainly belong in that conversation as well. Tony Gonzalez, Kellen Winslow, my former general manager, Ozzie Newsome. There are a ton of tight ends that you have to consider when you have that greatest of all time conversation at that position.
But the question is, do the Bucs really need Gronk in order to accomplish what inevitably they want to accomplish, and that's winning a championship? Fowler, what do you think?
They need Gronk. They've budgeted for Gronk. They are expecting him to come back. They want him back. Everything's set up. The table is set. It just depends on when he wants to do that. That clip you mentioned from TMZ sounds like a guy who's going to wait till July or August to show up. He doesn't want to go through the offseason program. I do know there are multiple teams that have inquired and kept tabs on Gronkowski. Maybe they offer him a better contract somewhere, and the Bucs would have to come over the top. But this is a team that's ready to bring him back. Could draft a tight end, too, in the first few rounds because Gronk is in his 30s. Cam Brate is 30 years old. They need some youth at that position.
Quickly, Canty, you think Gronk is part of the Buccaneers this year, yes?
No doubt about it.
Okay.
I mean, when you play that long, I mean, I understand not wanting to be in OTAs, minicamp, offseason program, and full training camp. So I think as we get closer to the season, we'll start to hear more about Rob Gronkowski wanting to play football this year.
All right.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.